Okay, here I am in my studio, and it's finally sunny outside. I'm getting a little late in the afternoon. It's 1:30, and I want to do some of the cyanotypes I've been talking about. So let me just go over a few things. I'm pulling together things that I know I may need. And usually when I have all my stuff out, I do more than one cyanotype at a time. I'll do a whole bunch of them. So you're going to need some boards. It could be board. I have an old envelope here that's stiff enough. You know, different things that you can use to do your layouts on. This is just the back of a paper pad. So I have several of these guys all pulled together so they're ready to go when I am. And I have a stack of those. That's your bottom layer. In this case, today I have some papers, cyanotype papers that I bought that already have the chemical on them. I'm going to use that and do wet cyanotype over top of it. So that is going to be a little bit later on. But I just want to go over things that I'm pulling together to experiment with. And this is total experiment with me. So I have a bunch of odd papers that I've pulled that I can actually do cyanotype prints right over these. You know, an old Thomas guide, old stationery, plain paper, ledger paper. Those are some of the specialty papers that I've pulled together. I also have a whole stack of watercolor papers. And even though these are from cyanotype drips from in the past, still going to use those. Now, aside from the papers, I have also, oh, here's another one. I thought I'd give this a try and do some cyanotype over that, some prints over that. That'll be fun. So I've got all my papers. Then there are things that I want to put on my papers so that when the sun comes through, it only exposes the portions of the paper that are exposed. The rest of it, anything that's covered up will not be exposed. Makes sense. So I'm going to use things like, I have a whole bunch of doilies that, you know, I've used in painting projects. So I just save those, and the more I use them, the stiffer they get. And also they're a bit opaque, so the sun doesn't expose through those. Of course, I've always got stacks of stencils, and the best stencils are the ones that already have paint on them because it makes them more opaque. I'm really looking forward to using this one. That's a Stencil Girl stencil, I believe. I do love text. I do love my letters. So these stencils are well worn and have lots of paint, so they're really opaque. You can also buy this. Let me see. This is a Faber-Castell set of stencils, and they all are made out of a really nice heavy brown paper, almost a cardboard. So those are really opaque, and they give you a whole bunch of textures and patterns that you can use. So I use those, and of course love my letters. I also have some sheets. These are the Lettresat set letters, you know, that you rub off letters, but these make great cyanotype prints. And then these, here is some hand lettering. I don't know if I can use this because I'm not sure it's water soluble, but or maybe that doesn't even really matter. But I've got a lot of these that actually were from my son when he was in art school, and I saved them, and you know, they go into art projects. More Lettresat letters. Those are great. I have just a thing of twine. Some of my favorite things, I don't know where I got these. These are from my vintage days. They're little glass rounds. And even though they are clear, the edges have gotten cyanotype blue on the edges, so they leave kind of cool little rings. I like those. And these are furniture, you know, back in the day, I think these were for furniture, you know, the things you put your furniture legs on. And they're glass and they're pretty thick. So even though they're transparent, they leave kind of a cool pattern. This is one of my favorites, a frozen garlic cloves from Trader Joe's, the little container. I use this for jelly plates. I use this for cyano prints. It works great. Let me see what else. So I've got that. I think I have enough to work with. I even pulled out when I was looking for my clips, because you will need these, your clamps, to hold the glass to the base to really hold your things down so you get a cleaner, clearer, crisper print. I even found these and thought, oh, that'd be kind of fun just to throw those out and have a pattern with S hooks. You know, just be creative. You'll find stuff to work with. And then over here on the other side of my table, I have a whole stack of glass or plexi. I tape the edges so that once I lay things down, you know, once I lay, let me do a little demonstration. Once I lay a piece of cyano paper down and, you know, add all my stuff to it, then you'll come back and add a piece of glass and clamp that down so it holds everything tight. Now, one thing I don't have here on my table yet is plant life from out in my garden. So I will be getting some of that together when I'm ready to actually do some prints. But for right now, I'm going over the basics. So what might that be? Okay, a couple of things that I use. I use a foam brush. Sometimes I use a bristle brush because I like, you know, I like the bristle. I like the brush strokes in it. This offers less of a brush stroke. So I have both of those. And let's just get started. Now, let me talk about this before I do it, before I start showing you. I thought this would be kind of neat. So what I want to do is I'm going to prepare some papers. I'm going to show you how I do that. And the beautiful thing about cyanotype, which I didn't know when I first did it, I made everything dark in my room, and I made it like a dark room, a photography dark room, because I was really afraid of overexposing. But with the cyanotype chemicals, you don't really need to do that. However, I don't have my light on in here to show, you know, so it might not be as light as many of my videos, but I did want to share with you, I think I'm holding it this way. I did want to share with you what I use, and this is the Jacquard, and this is part A and part B cyanotype. These bottles come with a powder in them, and you fill each of them up with water and shake them really good, and then let them sit for like 24 hours. So the mistake I made the first time around is I mixed my chemicals, I shook them up, I got ready, and I started working with them. Well, the chemicals didn't have time to really activate. So it's better if you get the water in, mix them, and let them sit overnight, let them sit 24 hours. Be prepared and do that. Now, I'm going to mix show you how you mix that, and then I'm going to get some papers ready. Let's see. Now, what's really helpful when you get papers ready is have a spot where you can put your papers. As soon as you get your chemical on, you want to put them somewhere dark for them to dry. So, okay, so make sure that you have somewhere that you can put them to dry in a nice dark place. I have a little cabinet over on the side, a little file cabinet that has flat files, and I'm just going to slip them in there and close the drawers so they'll be safe until they're dry and I'm ready to use them. So what you do to mix this, and I just use my cap. I put, let me see, I'm going to put 2 capfuls of this. This is part A. Yeah, I'll just put 2 capfuls. That'll do the trick. And then this is part B. Doesn't matter which way, whether you put them in, which one goes in first. You just want to put equal amounts. And make sure you keep them closed up. Okay, so let me start with, give it a little swish. Now think about how you want this to look. Like if I go like this, okay, I want that to be nice and even. Now I'm going to take this and put it in one of my flat files. Or you can spread it out nice and even. Now I think this one could be kind of cool. You can also use a foam brush. And it all depends on how you want your border to end up looking. Okay, I like that. Okay, now let me try. Now, another thing you want to keep in mind is the kind of paper you're using, because these papers will go into a water bath afterwards. So you want to make sure that they are going to be able to handle soaking in water a little bit. That one. Okay, got 2 of those. And let's see. Do that. And let me do this one. These are just all random papers that I have in my stash that I pulled out because I thought it would be kind of fun. Now this one must have some kind of finish on it because it's not actually sticking, but you know, we're experimenting, so that's okay. Okay, now I've got a couple of, let's see, what is this? I've got a couple of Thomas Guide maps. And like I said, these are just, now I don't know how well this paper is going to do, but I have used thinner paper. Here's one that has Las Vegas in it. So you can see that the chemicals go pretty far. And I'm curious how this is kind of cool paper. One side is woven and one side has the little leaf pattern on it. So maybe, again, I'm not sure this paper is going to hold up very well, but we're trying. We'll give it a try and let's see. Now let's play with a couple of ideas. I'm going to take a piece of this cyanotype paper, if I can find out how it opens. Here we go. Now this is already treated. Let's see if I'll be able to tell which side is which. Yeah, there we go. White side, treated side. So I'm going to work on this, and I want to make sure I seal this up so those papers in there don't get exposed. So let's do something. What do we want to do? Let's start with something pretty simple. Now, for this, I just am wanting to make papers that I can use in my mixed media artwork. So here's what we're going to do. Flip this over. I'm doing wet cyanotype, so I'm going to do another coat over top of this. And I'm going to add this in. I want to add this. I think I'll just keep it pretty simple. Lay that and that. And then, let me grab a piece of glass over here. Then I'm going to put this right over it and cover the glass. And I can clamp this down. Clamp this one down. Okay, and I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute just so I can get another one going. Here's another board. Got another board. Okay, let's see what I want to do here. What happened to my brush that I had? I want this to be a little streaky on this one, and I cut out some strips of black paper, as you can see. Maybe I'll add a couple of these. Now what I can do is I can take this, clamp this down, and then I can take a couple of these bigger ones that are heavy and put them out on top. And so there's two. And I'm going to go stick these out in the sun. Okay, I'm dying to use this. You get a big board. Why am I don't know. Because I'm not really sure it's going to do anything. But we're just going to do wet right on plain paper here. And in the vein of experimentation, let me cover it all up. Lots of letters. one. All right, something else I've been wanting to try is transparency film. And let's see if I can separate that. And I'm thinking this is going to be really good for okay, so that could be kind of fun. I'm using a Posca pen, a wide tip Posca pen for that. So I'm not sure this is gonna work because I've never tried it before, but let's give it a go. I'm gonna take out a piece of cyanotype that's already has the chemicals on it. Let's put this over top of it. And this is a pretty straightforward, pretty easy one. Got to get the right size glass. And all the pieces of glass I have are odd because they're taken from, you know, picture frames that I've taken apart and not used the glass. I save it for this. Let's clamp that there. That there. Now I'm just doing the straight paper on these. I'm not adding, or I'm not adding more chemicals to it. Let me use up the rest of what I have here. Now, this is just all the basics. Basics. And if I don't get to it in this video, because I don't like my videos to be too long, I don't want to lose your interest, I'll do another video with some other really kind of fun textures and prints. I like this. And other techniques. I wonder what this is going to do. I really don't know. I have no idea what that's going to do, if anything. Let's see, what else can we put on there? This right on here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to set these out, and now we've taken care of some basics. So hopefully I'll get a chance to show you some kind of fun little things I've learned along the way. And okay, this is my favorite flower to use, my hydrangeas. And I just go in and cut off segments of the flower. I have a whole bunch of these that are already dried somewhere, but I cannot remember what book I put them in. So I have these. Love those. I have a little piece of maiden's hair fern. And I also like, see if I have them in here, leaves that are really lacy. Look how pretty that is. Or that one. Oh, I think I'm going to use those. And here's a full one. Not sure where I got these, but I saw the patterns and I thought, oh, that'll be great. So let's see if we can make these happen. I've got a piece right here of the Cyanotype paper that I bought, and now I want to just kind of give a little bit of a swish. Okay, so let's review a few of the papers. These two are the papers that I just poured the chemical on had the S hooks and the little circled pieces of glass that I just poured it on, and I really like how these turned out. Again, I'm using my papers. I'll tear them up. I'll use them in other pieces of art. I'm not actually creating a piece of art with the cyanotype, although I do kind of like this. And when you look closely down here, the doily shows all the little tiny nooks and crannies. It's just like a photograph. So that one's kind of fun. Here's another one that I did. This was the garlic, little garlic container that I love to use so much. So some of them come out clearer than others, and that depends on how well the glass is sitting down next to it to hold everything in place. This was with the black strips of paper and the round circles again. the little lacy leaves that I used. I did discover one thing with the pre-treated paper. I don't like it quite as much as I do like using the chemicals, because the chemicals, when you do them yourselves, you get really cool variation. There's like a olive green in here mixed in with the blue. Now, I believe if I put this back in a bath with hydrogen peroxide, it's going to deepen the blue more. This was the one that I did on just the treated paper with the transparency that I wrote. I like how the transparency worked. I'll use it, I'll apply it differently and use the chemicals myself next time because I like it darker. And this was the piece of paper I was really dying to use, and it fell apart in the bath. So, you know, not a success on this experiment, but I'll still use these bits and pieces, so nothing goes to waste. And I took a lot of time doing this, so I don't want the video to be too long. So I'm going to continue it, and I'll use the papers that I treated and go on with some more special ideas and how I finish things off. And I'll do that in my next video next week. So hopefully you'll stick around for that. Cyanotypes are so fun to do. I think you'll really like them if you get in there and just experiment. Have fun with it. And when you have your stuff out, do a whole bunch of them at once. Or spend your time and perfect one. Whatever works for you works for me. I just want to get you excited about cyanotypes. And there you go. Hopefully I have. So if you have a minute, subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up. And most of all, if you have any questions or any suggestions with cyanotypes, put it in the comments below so I can see. I learn from you, you learn from me, we all learn from each other. So it's really nice to have something in the comments that we can all connect to. Really appreciate that. So go out and have a sunny day, make some cyanotypes, and enjoy.